welcome to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. Today, it's the semifinals of the 2002 Junior League 14 and under Little League Championships. Now, the winner of this one, or the winner of this tournament, I should say, will advance on to Michigan to play for the World Championship against 3 other regional winners, and then, of course, 4 international teams, and that will take place next week. But right now, it's Cartersville at home tonight, taking on Yorktown, Virginia, and my old stomping ground up there right outside the Norfolk area, and they have made a 12-hour trip down here to Georgia to take on the Hurricanes in what should be a great one in this single elimination semifinal game. As we take a quick look at the starting lineups, and we'll go through the infield for Virginia. They are the home team today. Aaron Tinney will be behind the plate. Kyle Messick will be at first. John Mason will be at second. Willie McBride will be at third. Clint Brown will be at shortstop. Bryce Earnhardt, will be in left field. Sean Blow will be in center field. And Taylor Tomlinson will be in right field. And on the hill today, getting the start, is Jason Pierce. And he will be throwing for the Hurricanes. They will lead things off with Scott Morris, the shortstop. Benji Farr, the center fielder, will hit in the 2 spot. Seth Malden, the pitcher, will hit third. Tyler Gilreath, the third baseman, will hit in the 4 spot. Barrett Knaps will hit in the 5 spot out of left field. Michael Castleberry at first base will hit in the 6th spot. Jacob Roberts will hit 7th. Kevin Meredith, the second baseman, will hit in the 8th spot. And Jamie Farr, the catcher, will hit 9th for the Canes. Jason Pierce taking a couple warm-up tosses as Yorktown throws it around the infield, and we're just about ready to get things underway as Scott Morris makes his way to the plate. Should be a great one out here today. A beautiful day for baseball. A little hot, but the weather has held off. They said there might be some thunder showers in the area today, but so far it looks pretty good as Jason Pierce goes up on the hill. He gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. Scott Morris steps in. The first pitch on the way. That ball swung and fouled down the first base line, 0-1. So Scott Morris turns back and gets the sign from head coach Danny Gilreath and now steps back in the box. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. The stretch, the pitch, swung on and missed, strike 2. So the count 0-2 to Scott Morris as he steps back in, hitting from the right side of the box. Jason Pierce back up on the hill, gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. The stretch, the pitch. That ball swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes. So 1 up, 1 down for the Hurricanes here in the first. And that will now bring Benji Farr to the plate, the starting center fielder. Farr also hitting from the right side. Will step in to face Jason Pierce. Farr steps back in. The stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That one high and inside, 1-0. Pierce again with the pitch. That ball swung on, hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is John Mason. He grabs it and throws on to first. That goes 4-3 in your book as Kyle Messick steps on the bag. So 2 up, 2 down for the Canes here in the first, and that'll bring Seth Malden to the plate, the starting pitcher, with an opportunity to help his own cause. One of the power hitters in this Hurricane lineup, and he'll step in hitting from the right side of the box as well. The stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That ball swung on and hit in the gap. It's down for a base hit. And just like that, Malden is aboard with a single. So the first hit of the game goes to Seth Malden, and that brings Tyler Gilreath to the plate with a runner aboard and 2 outs here in the first. Gilreath hitting from the left side of the box. Also a power hitter in this Hurricane lineup, will step in. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Tinney, the pitch. That one inside, 1-0. Malden now on the pass ball will advance on to second. So Malden now in scoring position for Gilreath with 2 outs here in the first. Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch swung on, that ball fouled away, and the count goes even at 1. Gilreath steps back in. Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. And Gilreath digs in. The pitch. That one high and away, 2-1 the count. So with 2 outs here, top half of the first inning, no score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex as Jason Pierce steps back up on the hill, gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. The pitch, swung on, that ball fouled away and will be out of play. And the count goes even at 2. Tyler Gilreath makes his way back to the plate, while Jason Pierce goes back up on the hill. The count even at 2 now for Gilreath as he steps back in. 2 down here, top half of the first inning. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex. Pierce gets the sign, the pitch. That one high and away, and the count is now run full. Gilreath steps back in, waiting in the on-deck circle for the Canes is Barrett Knaps. The pitch. That one goes all the way back to the stop. It'll be ball 4, but Malden will advance on to third on the pass ball. So runners in the corners now for Barrett Knaps and 2 outs, top half of the first. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Again, gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. The pitch. That one high and inside, 1-0. Pierce, who retired the first hitters in order, has struggled against Malden and Gilreath, and now a 1-0 count to Barrett Knaps. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hitting the gap, but coming on to make it is Clint Brown, the shortstop. He grabs it, throws on to first in time. That'll do it. It goes 6-3, and the Hurricanes get it done off a hit, a walk. They strand 2. We move to the bottom half of the first. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. Today, it's the semifinals of the 2002 14 and under Junior League Southern Regional. Now, the winner of this tournament will advance on to the Junior League World Series next week in Michigan. So a lot at stake here. This is single elimination, which is, I guess, rare in most baseball tournaments. But nonetheless, it's do or die here today for both of these squads as Yorktown, Virginia, out of the Norfolk area, takes on the Cartersville Hurricanes, who are the hosts today. Seth Malden will take the hill for the Hurricanes. Barrett Knaps out in left field. Benji Farr in center. Jacob Roberts in right. Tyler Gilreath at third. Scott Morris at shortstop. Kevin Meredith at second. Michael Castleberry at first, and Jamie Farr behind the plate. The first pitch by Malden is in the dirt, 1-0 to Jason Pierce. So Pierce, with an opportunity to help his own cause right here, will step in. The stretch, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. So Pierce steps back in. Malden back up on the hill, gets the sign from Jamie Farr, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-2. Malden back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Jamie Farr. The 1-2 pitch on the way, swung on and missed, and going down on strikes is Jason Pierce. So that brings John Mason to the plate. Mason, the second baseman, will step in, hitting from the right side of the box. See what he can do against Seth Malden. Malden on the hill, gets the sign, the pitch. That one misses low and away, 1-0. Mason steps back in. The stretch, the pitch. That one high and inside, 2-0. Mason steps back in. The stretch, the pitch. That one misses low and away, 3-0. The stretch, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 3-1, as Mason was taken the whole way that time. Mason again gets the sign and now steps in. The 3-1 pitch on the way for Malden. That ball in the dirt, and he walks him. So Mason is aboard. So Mason makes his way to first base, and Yorktown has a runner. One out here in the bottom half of the first inning. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex as Aaron Tinney makes his way to the plate. Tinney, the starting catcher today for Yorktown, and Malden goes back to first. Michael Castleberry makes the grab and the tag, but it's a little bit late, and the runner is safe. One out here in the bottom half of the first inning. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex, and again, Malden goes back to first base. Malden back up on the hill. Gets the sign from far, the pitch. That one low and away, 1-0. Malden back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Jamie Farr, the pitch. That one in the dirt. 2-0 the count, and now the runner will move on to second as John Mason makes his way on the pass ball. Third pass ball of the day today for both teams. And now John Mason is in scoring position with only one out as Aaron Tinney steps back in. Malden back up on the hill. Checks his runner at second. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. Tinney digs in. Malden back up on the hill. Again checks his runner at second as Mason takes the lead. The pitch swung on, that ball hit down the third base line but foul, and now the count will be even at 2. Aaron Tinney makes a little adjustment and now steps back in. Malden back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Jamie Farr. Now checks his runner at second. The pitch. That one misses outside, and the count is now run full. One out here, bottom half of the first inning. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex as Malden steps back up on the hill. Aaron Tinney digs in, hitting from the right side of the box. The pitch. Swung on, and that ball popped up and fouled back to the stop, and the count will remain full. Malden back up on the hill. Malden checks the runner at second. The payoff pitch on the way. That ball hitting the gap. Coming on to make the play is Gilreath, but it's over his glove, and now runners will be in the corners with one out here in the bottom of the first, and that brings Kyle to the plate. The back hits for Yorktown, and they've got runners in the corners with one out, and that now brings, as I said, Kyle Messick to the plate. It looks like he's got some power. Messick steps in, and now they throw on back to first where the runner is safe. Malden back up on the hill, checks his runner at third. Now the pitch. Swung on, and that ball fouled down the third base line. The count 0-1 to Messick. So Messick, the first baseman, steps back in. Another right-handed hitter for this Yorktown team. 0-1 the count. Seth Malden back up on the hill, gets the sign. The pitch. Swung on, that ball taken deep towards center field. Going back is Benji Farr. He makes the out. The run will tag, and just like that, it's a 1-0 lead for Yorktown. So the first RBI of the game goes to Kyle Messick, and the boys from Virginia have a 1-0 lead in the bottom half of the first. So with two down, that brings Taylor Tomlinson to the plate. Tomlinson hitting from the left side of the box with one on and two outs. 1-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one. The pitch. That one high and away. The runner will go, and Farr throws down to second, and he got him. So that'll do it. It'll be a 2-6 put out for the Hurricanes to end the threat here in the first, but Yorktown gets it done off 2 hits. They score 1. We move to the top half of the second. It's Virginia 1, Cartersville 0. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the top half of the second. Yorktown 1, Cartersville nothing. As Virginia has taken early 1-0 lead off an RBI by Kyle Messick as he went deep to center field. That scored the runner off a tag in the bottom half of the inning, and now we move to the top of the second. Cartersville finds themselves in a 1-0 hole, but set to lead things off will be Michael Castleberry. As the 5, 6, or actually the 6, 7, and 8 hitters will make their way to the plate. Castleberry with the first pitch, it's high and away, 1-0. Jason Pierce still on the hill for Virginia. Did a pretty good job in the first inning. The pitch. That one misses inside, 2-0. Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch to Castleberry, that one misses outside, 3-0. So Michael Castleberry looks down the third base line, gets the sign from head coach Danny Gilreath, and most likely he'll be taking all the way here. Pierce back up on the mound, gets the sign, the pitch. That one high and inside, and he walks him on 4 consecutive pitches. So Castleberry is aboard here in the top half of the second to lead things off. And that'll bring Jacob Roberts to the plate, the starting right fielder. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike. 0-1 to Jacob Roberts as he looks down the third base line and gets the sign from head coach Danny Gilreath. Waiting on deck for the Canes is Kevin Meredith. Castleberry takes his lead. The pitch swung on and missed. 0-2. So Roberts steps back in. Pierce back up on the hill. The 0-2 pitch on the way. That one's high and inside. 1-2. Jacob Roberts steps back in. The 1-2 pitch on the way, swung on. That ball popped up into the infield. Infield fly rule should be in effect. And that'll be the out. So the first out of the inning is in the books. And that brings Kevin Meredith to the plate with 1 aboard and 1 out here in the top of the second. 1-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one. Kevin Meredith stepping in. The pitch swung on. That ball hit to the opposite field, going back toward the fence, but Taylor Tomlinson is there to make the out. He'll throw back to first, and not in time for the double play, but the second out of the inning is in the books. And that now brings Jamie Farr to the plate. Farr hitting in the 9 spot. Caught here pretty much throughout the postseason for this Cartersville team and done a pretty good job. Farr steps in, the pitch. That ball misses outside, 1-0. Jason Pierce heads back up on the hill. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Aaron Tinney. The pitch, swung on. That ball hit into the infield. Pierce comes on to make the grab. He throws on to first in time. It'll go 1-3, and that'll do it as the Hurricanes get it done off a walk. They strand 1. We move to the bottom half of the second. Yorktown 1, Cartersville nothing. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. And since the final out of the first was made in the field, Taylor Tomlinson will again be at the plate as he leads things off here in the second as he faces Seth Malton. 1-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one as Tomlinson makes his way to the plate. So the starting right fielder will step in to face Seth Malton. The pitch Swung on, that ball ripped towards center field, going back toward the fence, and that ball's in for a base hit as it splits Jacob Robertson, Benji Farr. Tomlinson makes his way onto second, and he's in with a stand-up double. So Tomlinson is aboard, and that now brings Sean Blow to the plate, the starting center fielder. Blow, a left-hander as well, will step in. Blow steps in. The pitch. Swung on, that ball fouled away. 0-1. So Blow hitting from the left side of the box with an 0-1 count. Will step back in as Seth Malton back up on the hill, now checks his runner at second. The pitch. Swung on, that ball ripped in the gap, down for a base hit. And now we're going to have runners at the corners. So with back-to-back hits, Yorktown is threatening, and that brings Kyle Hornsby to the plate. Hornsby, related to Bruce Hornsby, of Bruce Hornsby in the range. One of the more famous people from Williamsburg, Virginia. That pitch thrown over to first, and the runner is safe. Hornsby steps in. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hitting the gap. Coming on to make the play is Scott Morris. He tags second, throws on to first in time. They get the double play, but a run comes home. So it'll be an RBI for Kyle Hornsby, and the Hurricanes turn the 6 unassisted 3 double play. And Epling brings Clint Brown to the plate with 2 down and a runner on. Brown steps in, and the first pitch misses away, 1-0. Brown steps back in. Seth Malton back up on the hill. The stretch, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch on the way by Malton. That one in the dirt, 2-1. Good eye that time by Clint Brown as he steps back in. Malton back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Jamie Farr, now the delivery. That ball swung on, hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is Michael Castleberry. It'll go 3 unassisted, and that'll do it for Yorktown here in the second, but they get it done off 2 hits. They score 1 run. They lead it 2-0 as we move to the top half of the third. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the top half of the third. 2-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one as Virginia has gotten out in front early as the home team. Cartersville will try to rally here in the third as they go back to the top of the order as Scott Morris will lead things off. There's a position change in the field for Yorktown this inning as John Mason has come down to catch while Aaron Tinney has moved to second base as they move things up a little bit. Jason Pierce still on the hill. Gets the sign from Mason, the pitch. That one misses outside, 1-0. So Scott Morris, who's 0 for 1 today, struck out swinging back in the first. We'll try to get something going here for the Canes in the third. Stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. The count even at 1 now as Jason Pierce gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. That ball way outside and comes back to the stop, 2-1. Pierce back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Mason as Morris steps in. The pitch, swung on, that ball hitting the gap and over the head of the shortstop and down for a base hit. Cartersville's version of Nomar comes away with a hit. So Morris leads things off, and that brings Benji Farr to the plate. Farr 0 for 1 today as well. Grounded out to second back in the first inning. No one out here, top half of the third. 2-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one. The Hurricanes now bring the tying run to the plate as Scott Morris goes back to the bag. Benji Farr steps in. Jason Pierce on the hill. Gets the sign, the pitch swung on, and 0-1 the count as he fouls that one back. Morris goes back to first. And the count now 0-1 to Benji Farr. Pierce back up on the hill. Throws on to first, but to no avail. Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign from Mason. Now the pitch. Swung on, that ball popped up and out of play. 0-2 the count to Benji Farr. Farr steps back in. The count 0-2. Jason Pierce again gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. That one misses outside. They throw on to second. Not in time as Morris slides in underneath the tag. So Scotty Morris credited with a stolen base, and now Cartersville has a runner in scoring position. The count 1-2 now to Benji Farr. Farr digs in. Pierce back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Mason, the pitch. That ball misses outside again, 2-2. Threw a good looking breaking ball that time, but just a tad bit outside. Pierce back up on the mound. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit to the opposite field, but out of play and foul. And the count will remain even at 2, with no one out here in the third. 2-0 your score. Yorktown on top of this one.
2-2.
Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign from Mason. The pitch. That one misses outside, and the count is now run full, and Scott Morris gets his second stolen base. Uncontested. So Cartersville is down 90 feet away from a score here. And the full count to Benji Farr. Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign, the pitch. Swung on, that ball hitting the gap. Coming on to make the play is Brown. He fields it. He throws on to first in time, but it'll be an RBI. And the Hurricanes are on the board. Good range that time by Clint Brown as he makes the throw over to first. But a run does score, and it's now a 2-1 game. Yorktown from Southeast Virginia, right outside Williamsburg. Beautiful part of the country. As Seth Malden steps in. The stretch, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. 2-1 your score. Yorktown on top of this one as Malden steps in with no one aboard. One out here in the top of the third. The stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That ball misses outside, 1-1 to Seth Malden. For Pierce, he now has to face the heart of this Hurricane order. The pitch. That one misses high and inside, 2-1. In the first, he got through him with minimal damage, with a hit by Malden, a walk by Gilreath, and then a ground out by Barrett Knaps. The pitch. Swung on, and that ball hit down. Coming on to make the play is Aaron Tinney. He fields it and throws on to first in time for the second out of the inning. So that brings Tyler Gilreath to the plate. And for Pierce, this is the best way to face Gilreath, is with no one aboard.
Now batting Tyler Gilreath.
So Gilreath hitting from the left side of the box with 2 outs here in the top of the second. 2-1 your score, Yorktown on top. The stretch, the pitch. Swung on and fouled back to the stop, 0-1. Gilreath a little late coming around that time. Pierce threw some heat. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. That one misses outside, 1-1. Gilreath steps in. The 1-1 pitch on the way. That one high and inside, 2-1. Gilreath walked in his only plate appearance back in the first. The 2-1 pitch on the way by Pierce. That one in there for a called strike, 2-2. So now Gilreath will step back in. The count even at 2 with 2 outs. Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. Swung on, and that ball ripped into short center field. It's down for a base hit, and Gilreath is aboard. So that brings Barrett Knaps to the plate with a runner on and 2 outs here in the third. Jason Pierce back up on the hill, will now pitch to Barrett Knaps. Knaps 0 for 1 today, grounded out to short back in the first. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Gilreath takes a lead off first. Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. That one in there for a strike as well, 0-2. Pierce back up on the mound. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit towards second. Tinney comes on to make the play, fields it, throws on to first in time. That'll do it. It goes 4-3 in the book, but Cartersville gets it done off 2 hits. They score 1 run. We now move to the bottom half of the third. It's Yorktown 2, Cartersville 1. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we now move to the bottom half of the third inning. It's Yorktown 2, Cartersville 1. Richard Rice in the game now, hitting in the 9 spot for Willie McBride. First pitch, misses away, 1-0. Rice in with his first at bat today. The pitch by Malden, that one misses inside, 2-0. Seth Malden makes his way up to the mound. Richard Rice steps back in. The 2-0 pitch on the way by Malden. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. The stretch, the pitch. Swung on and missed, 2-2. Rice digs back in. Malden back up on the hill, gets the sign. The stretch, the 2-2 pitch on the way. That one misses outside, and the count is now run full. Bottom half of the third inning, Yorktown leading it 2-1 over Cartersville. The stretch and the pitch by Malden. Swung on, that ball popped up and out of play, and the count will remain full. Richard Royce steps back in. The stretch and the pitch by Malden. That one in there for called strike 3, and he gets him looking. So that brings Jason Pierce to the plate with an opportunity to help his own cause. He's 0 for 1 today, struck out swinging back in the first. One down here in the third. The stretch, the pitch. Swung on, and that ball fouled back to the stop, 0-1. Jason Pierce again steps back in. The 0-1 pitch on the way by Malden. That ball swung on and hit up the gap. Diving for it that time was Kevin Meredith, but it's in for a base hit. Good shot that time by Jason Pierce right up the middle. And now with 1 out, Yorktown has a runner aboard, and that brings John Mason to the plate, who's 1 for 1 today. Mason singled back in the first and later scored a run. The pitch. That one misses outside, 1-0. Mason steps back in. Aaron Tinney waits on deck. Malden back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Farr, now the pitch. That ball outside, Farr does a good job of blocking it, but Pierce is on his way to second and will be credited with a stolen base.
Hey, James.
So now Virginia has a runner in scoring position with only 1 out. And Mason makes his way back in. Malden back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Jamie Farr. The pitch. That one way inside, 3-0. Coach on the third base line says that ball's got to be right in front of you. You don't see a watermelon, you're not swinging. So Mason will most likely be taking them as Malden winds up and throws it. That one in there for a called strike, 3-1. Just touched the bottom of the strike zone that time. The 3-1 pitch on the way by Malden, and he walks him. So Mason is aboard on 5 pitches, and that brings Aaron Tinney to the plate. So with runners aboard on first and second, the double play is now back in. Actually, there's 2 outs. Should be only 1 out. Scoreboard shows 2 outs. So I was right, the double play is back in. Head coach Danny Gilreath will be charged his first conference to the mound as he comes to talk things over with Seth Malden. Now the scoreboard still says 2 outs. Malden back up on the hill. Will now pitch to Aaron Tinney. Tinney hitting from the right side of the box, steps in, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Malden back up on the hill. The sun has gone behind a cloud here at the Cartersville Baseball Complex. The pitch by Malden. That ball way outside. The runner's going to go down the line to third. We could have a play, and not in time. So now 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Now things looking good for Aaron Tinney. One and 1 the count. Seth Malden back up on the hill. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-2. Malden back up on the hill. The 1-2 pitch on the way. That ball swung on, hit down the gap. It just gets by Castleberry at first. 1 run will come home, another will hold up. And now it's a 3-1 lead, and runners are in the corners. So it'll be an RBI single for Aaron Tinney. And just like that, Yorktown has a 3-1 lead. Seth Malden back up on the hill, throws on back to first, and the runner is safe. Malden back up on the hill. The pitch. Swung on, that ball popped up into right field. Coming under it is Jacob Roberts. He makes the out. The run will tag, but won't get there in time. A great throw by Roberts from right field. Keep the runners at bay. So Kyle Messick looked like he had an RBI there. But a good throw in right field by Jacob Roberts keeps the runners home. Runners in the corners now for Taylor Tomlinson, and now there's 2 outs in the inning. 3-1 your score. Yorktown on top of this one. Tomlinson hitting from the left side of the box will face Seth Malden. Malden throws on back to first where the runner is safe. Malden with a good move to first. Taylor Tomlinson steps back in. Malden with the pitch. Swung on and fouled back to the fence. 0-1. Tomlinson steps back in. They throw on back to first, and the runner is safe. Malden back up on the hill, the pitch. Swung on, that ball popped into the infield. Malden calls everyone off. He'll make the final out of the inning, but Yorktown gets it done here in the third. Off 2 hits and a walk, they score 1. They lead it 3-1 as we now move to the top half of the fourth. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we now move to the top half of the 4th inning. Yorktown holding a 3-1 lead as Cartersville will come to the plate. Set to lead things off for the Hurricanes will be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters as Michael Castleberry, Jacob Robertson, Kevin Meredith will hit. You're watching a great pitching performance today by Jason Pierce. He has kept Cartersville off balance for 3 innings so far, limiting them to only 3 hits and 1 run. Well, he struck out 1. So far today, Pierce has only walked 2. So Michael Castleberry will step in, hitting from the right side of the box. And Jason Pierce up on the hill. Castleberry gets the sign and now steps in. Pierce with the stretch, the pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1. So the 0-1 pitch to Michael Castleberry, and he steps back in. The pitch. That one misses outside. Actually in there for a called strike, 0-2. Late calls by the home plate umpire, killing me today. 0-2 the count. The pitch. That one in the dirt, 1-2. So Pierce steps back up on the hill. The stretch. The pitch by Pierce. That ball swung on. It'll be popped up in foul territory. Could be out of play. and is. It could not make the grab. So the count will remain 1-2 with no one out here in the fourth. Yorktown holding a 3-1 advantage. The pitch swung on, and that ball fouled down the first base line and out of play. And joining me now is my longtime color man, Kyle Tucker.
Late, but I guess better late than never. Hopefully I can bring the Hurricanes some luck here and score some runs here in the top of the fourth inning.
The stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That ball swung on and hit to the opposite field. Coming underneath it is Taylor Tomlinson, and that'll be the first out of the inning. 1 up, 1 down for the Canes here in the fourth.
Looks like, Scott, here in a 3-1 game, I've missed, I heard you say a minute ago, quite a pitching duel here. In this big game, I guess a battle of your two home states, Georgia and Virginia, going at it. So I'm sure a little more interest in this one for you.
Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Mason. The pitch. That ball in the dirt, 1-0. In fact, these guys located just a couple miles from where I went to college.
Really?
Lived 4 years in Williamsburg. John Mason again gives the sign. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That one in the dirt. 2-0.
Like I said, I just arrived here back in the third inning, but you've seen that Virginia has a pretty good pitching staff. Cartersville has scored double digits in every game so far in this tournament, and so far only 1 run through the first 3 innings.
The stretch and the pitch by Pierce. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. Cartersville getting here by way of Tennessee 11-1 on Saturday, Alabama 11-0 on Sunday, and then an 11-7 win over Florida yesterday. The pitch by Pierce. That one misses outside, 3-1. For Virginia, they beat South Carolina on Saturday 7-1, then lost to North Carolina 9-2, and then beat West Virginia yesterday, either 13-3 or 12-1. I've had 2 different scores, so not exactly sure, but they did win. The pitch misses outside, and they walk some. So Jacob Roberts is aboard, and the Hurricanes have a base runner here in the fourth, and that brings Kevin Meredith to the plate. Meredith 0 for 1 today, flew out to right field. And his first at bat back in the second. Here he is in the fourth, and he represents the tying run as he steps on in the box. Jason Pierce back up on the mound. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1.
Cartersville, as I'm sure you've noted earlier, Scott, was the 1 seed, I guess, coming out of their side of the bracket, playing the 2 from the other one. I know Florida made it from Cartersville's. Who was the other team with Virginia? Was it South Carolina or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina beat South Carolina.
The pitch. That one in there for a strike, and stealing second easily that time was Jacob Roberts.
So that's big for Cartersville now. Meredith, the 8-hitter, at the plate with a runner in scoring position. Cartersville's trying to get one here. They're in the game, not so much get back in it, but just kind of chip away at that lead here as they trail by 2 here in the fourth.
So Kevin Meredith steps back in. The 0-2 pitch on the way. That ball swung on, and hitting the gap, coming on to make the play is Tinney. Grabs it, throws on to first in time. That'll represent the second out of the inning. And now with a runner on third, the Hurricanes will bring Jamie Farr to the plate. Actually, they're going to substitute Harrison Sharp in.
11 for 6 over here, special runner. 11 for 6, special runner.
So Harrison steps in there now with that runner just 90 feet away, so he can somehow reach base, put the ball in play and get on base. That run from third will most likely score for Cartersville.
The pitch swung on and fouled back to the fence, 0-1.
Harrison came out swinging, had a pretty good cut at that first pitch from Pierce, and fouled it back right here towards us.
You're right. That's a sub. Sorry about that.
So Harrison Sharp making his way back in with the count 0-1. Sharp steps in. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch, that ball swung on and fouled back to the fence. And that ball is going to be out of play. 0-2 the count now to Harrison Sharp.
Good effort that time with the pitcher, Jason Pierce. Got Sharp to foul it off, and Pierce actually almost came and made the play in foul territory himself. Catcher that time, Mason, had a tough time finding it in the sun, and his pitcher, Pierce, almost came and made the play, but nonetheless, there'll be 2 strikes now to Harrison Sharp.
So Sharp steps back in. 2 outs here in the 4th. 3-1 your score. Yorktown on top of this one. Hurricanes threatening with a runner on 3rd. The pitch by Pierce. Swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes. And that'll do it for the Hurricanes here in the 4th. They get it done off a walk. They strand 1. We now move to the bottom half of the 4th inning. It's Yorktown 3, Cartersville 1. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. I'm Scott Singer along with Kyle Tucker. So we're live here at the Cartersville Baseball Complex for the semifinals of the 2002 Junior League Southern Regional. Now, the winner of this tournament, and it is single elimination at this point, only 4 teams remain, will move on to the Junior League World Series. Set to lead things off here is Sean Blow. And the first pitch hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is Scott Morris. He grabs it, throws on to first in time, and he shows his range again.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Scott Morris at shortstop. Scott, we've seen him play a few times this summer. He shows good range, like you said, and a really strong arm over there. Has even pitched a little bit for this Cartersville team and swings a pretty good bat in the leadoff spot.
Reminds me of another shortstop in the area.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like high school standout Russ Mitchell. Another ball hit right to him. Morris fields it, throws on to first in time. So 2 pitches, 2 outs here for Yorktown in the 4th.
I was going to say right on cue again for Scott Morris. He gets another chance. That's a tough play. Chopper over the mound, and he's there with plenty of time. Like you said, Scott really does remind me a lot of Russ Mitchell. Just real smooth out there. Good arm, good bat, good overall baseball player. So quickly 2 outs here for Virginia in the bottom of the 4th.
Clint Brown steps in. First pitch misses low and inside, 1-0. Brown 0 for 1 today. Grounded back to first, Mack in the 2nd. So Brown steps in. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. Of course, Russ Mitchell most likely on his way to Georgia next year. If
Follow his brother
there. He still has a senior year to play, of course. And the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-2.
You know, Scott, it seems like, I guess over the past 7 to 8 years that you see more and more big-time ball players coming out of Cartersville, and it looks like we're getting a look here at the upcoming stars.
The stretch and the pitch by Malden. That ball swung on, hit into short left field, and it'll drop in for a base hit. Hit that one kind of off the nub of the bat and just sent it into left field, but a perfect shot there for Clint Brown, and he is aboard.
You're right, Scott. Wouldn't hit as hard as maybe Clint Brown would like to have hit it, but nonetheless, it's a base hit for Virginia. And truth be told, if you probably hit that ball off the fat part of the bat, it probably is a line drive right to the left fielder, Barrett Knapp's, and it fell right in front of him.
So Willie McBride now makes his way to the plate with a runner aboard and 2 outs. First pitch. This is inside, 1-0. McBride with his first at bat today. Richard Rice hit for him back in the 3rd. The stretch and the pitch to McBride. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1.
Kind of a delayed strike on that time by the home plate umpire. Like you said, it's got a single elimination now, so this game is obviously extremely important for both teams.
The pitch, that one high and inside, 2-1. With only 3.5 innings to go here, or 3 1/3 innings to go. You can cut the tension with a knife here at the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You hate to see either one of these teams go home. Seth Malden back up on the hill, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-2. So McBride steps back in. Malden back up on the hill. The pitch. swung on, and that ball fouled back to the fence. 2-2.
Virginia team has shown no signs of running right now. With 2-2 count and 2 outs. If we do go to a full count, he will of course be running.
The count even at 2. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit toward the opposite field. Coming on to make the play is Michael Castleberry, and he makes the final out of the inning. They get it done off a hit. They strand one. We move to the top half of the 5th inning. It's Yorktown 3, Cartersville 1. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the top half of the 5th inning here in this single elimination semifinal game in the 2002 Southern Regional of Junior League Baseball.
Kind of interesting, Scott. I hate to quit repeating it, but in baseball, you go to a single elimination format. It's really tough because you cannot afford to have a bad game, or else you go home. Most baseball tournaments you play in, you're afforded, that double elimination format and afforded a loss, really, but not the case here today.
Well, Cartersville with 3 innings left of offense starts with the top of the order, so
now would be the time.
So I guess the goal for Jason Pierce is not to see anyone again.
I think you're exactly right.
First pitch inside, 1-0.
Scott Morris trying to convince the home plate umpire that it hit him.
Morris steps back in. A 1-0 count. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That one high and inside, 2-0.
You're exactly right, Scott. You said that Jason Pierce's goal was to not face anybody again. That would mean that he would retire Cartersville in order in each of the last 3 innings.
Morris steps in. The pitch. That one high and inside, 3-0.
Well, Pierce keeping the ball up a little bit. That's pretty good velocity on that fastball right now. Just having a hard time getting it down in the strike zone.
Well, the 3-0 count now to Scotty Morris, and it'll have to be on a platter for him here. The pitch. That one misses outside, and he walks him. So Morris is aboard, so there goes that theory. He'll see Morris again.
Barring a double play.
Yeah, barring a double play.
So you got pretty good speed out there now with Morris at first, and even better speed at the plate in Benji Farr. So Cartersville with the start they wanted. The leadoff man gets on base, and some pretty good hitters behind Morris, and here's the first one in Benji Farr.
Farr 0 for 2 today, grounded out to second and grounded out to short in the 1st and 3rd innings respectively.
They pitch out on the 0-0 count. Morris is staying close to the bag.
So Benji Farr steps back in. Morris, of course, a threat to steal and takes that lead off first. The pitch. That one out, 2-0.
So Pierce has thrown 6 straight balls here to start the 5th. I don't think you'll see Morris running right now, and I don't think you'll see Benji Farr swing. I'd like to see Pierce throw a strike and not help Yorktown out and give them a free out.
They throw on back to first where Scotty Morris is safe. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Again, gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1.
So Pierce finds his zone. Pretty good fastball right at the knees to Farr. I suspect Benji probably did have the take sign on that pitch, but now he'll be free to swing away.
Benji Farr with a 2-1 count steps back in. Jason Pierce back up on the hill to pitch. That one in there, and now they throw down the line to second where Scott Morris is safe, and now a runner in scoring position.
Scott Morris got a huge jump off first. I was taking a look at him to see what kind of lead he got over there, and the next thing I knew, you had 5 steps before the ball was released out of the pitcher's hand. He stole that base easily.
So a 3-1 count now to Benji Farr. Jason Pierce back up on the hill to pitch. That one in there for a called strike, and the count is run full on Benji Farr.
Pretty good eye by Farr, 3-1. Borderline pitch. Good job of taking it, but if it's close, he better swing here. Give Pierce some credit. Battling back here after a rough start to this 5th inning.
Pierce back up on the mound. Gets the sign from Mason. That ball hit towards short. Clint Brown fields it. Throws on to first in time, and that'll do it. The first out of the inning. And now Seth Malden makes his way to the plate with a runner in scoring position.
Good baseball all the way around there. Good job by Pierce. The pressure was on him to throw a strike. 3-2. He does just that. Benji Farr hits it sharply, but right at the shortstop, Clint Browning makes a nice pickup and a nice throw into the first baseman, Kyle Message, that time.
So Seth Malden will now step in. Malden 1 for 2 today, singled back in the first, grounded out to second back in the third. Pierce on the hill, gets the sign, the pitch. That one high and inside, 1-0 to Seth Malden.
Looks like Pierce's fastball has a little movement on it. Looks like it's coming in on those right-handed batters. With that velocity, that's a tough pitch if he can throw it for a strike.
Seth Malden steps back in. Again, Pierce on the hill. The pitch. Swung on, and that ball fouled down the first base line and out of play. 1-1 the count for Seth Malden as he makes his way back to the plate. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Checks the runner Scotty Morris at second. The count even at 1. Morris is going. They're going to throw down the line at third, and Morris is in easily. The ball gets away. Morris is going to turn the corner now. He's going to go back to third. That could have been exciting.
Yeah, well, you really could have. Scott is already exciting, but I thought Morris was going to try and score, but you got to give credit to the shortstop, Clint Brown, for backing up the throw. If he doesn't back the throw up, Morris scores standing up. Another great jump by Scotty Morris. That's what makes him a good base stealer. He really anticipates when that pitcher's going to the plate and is off and running.
Fly ball would most likely score Morris from third, although time has been called while he gets adjusted. Morris looks like he took kind of a beating coming back to the bag that time.
Sure did. Kind of had to dive back in there quickly.
His mom will have to break out the tide.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good-looking uniform, man. When you got dirt all over it like that, it means you're playing hard. I used to dive just to do that.
Pierce on the hill, the 1-2 pitch on the way. That one misses outside, 2-2.
Pretty good breaking pitch by Pierce, missed just outside. Good eye by Seth Malden. Trying to hit the ball hard somewhere and bring in Morris. Cartersville down by 2 in the top of the 5th.
Malden steps back in. The 2-1 pitch, that ball swung on and fouled back to the fence, 2-2.
Boy, he had a good cut on that one, right? Just barely missed that fastball. But Jason Pierce continues to throw the ball in there with some good velocity. And now throwing it for strikes. You can see why he's had success against this Cartersville team here today.
Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The count even at 2. John Mason back behind the plate. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit over the gap in second, down for a base hit. That'll score Scotty Morris easily. And the Hurricanes have now made it a 3-2 game.
That's a good job that time by Seth Malden. One thing really people might not realize, the ball wasn't hit extremely hard, but it was a good piece of hitting. An off-speed pitch, Scott, like you've seen so many times with the guys on the varsity level, you hit that ball the other way. That's what you're taught to do, and I'm sure Coach Danny Gilroy has taught these guys the same thing. When the ball's away from you, hit it the other way, and Malden did a great job that time on a breaking pitch, inserted out in the right field for a base hit, and brings Cartersville within 1 run now of Yorktown.
A 3-2 game now for Tyler Gilreath. The pitch, that one high and away, 1-0. Gilreath, one of the more dangerous hitters on this team.
Yeah, this is a big spot here for both teams because you have your best hitter up there in Cartersville. I'll say one of your best hitters.
With 1 out here in the 5th, the pitch. Swung on, that ball hit to the opposite field. It's going to be down for a base hit. Malden will hold up at second, and now you've got runners aboard on first and second, and that brings Barrett Knaps to the plate, and you've got the tying run in scoring position on second and Seth Malden.
Exactly right, Scott. Once again, we saw it with Seth Malden. That time we saw it with Tyler Gilreath. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, and Gilreath just smashed that ball in the left field. Sharply hit line drive down for a single. Let's give some credit that time to Bryce Earnhardt, the left fielder, for keeping that ball going to the fence. If he does that, then Cartersville runs for a while, but he made a nice play on the 1 hop and keeps the runner at second base.
So 1 out here in the 5th, 3-2 your score, and John Mason has come up from behind the plate to talk things over with his pitcher, Jason Pierce.
Now to play for Georgia, Barrett Knaps.
Pierce has pitched a gem today, but in a little bit of danger here with 1 out in the 5th.
He really has, Scott, and this has been the first time, like you said, that he's really run into some troubled waters, I guess you could say, and faces another good hitter this time in Knaps with only 1 out and 2 men on.
Barrett Knapp steps in, the pitch, that ball swung on, it's down for a base hit. That ball goes in the gap, Malden turns the corner at third. He's coming home, we could have a play at the plate, no we won't, and we've got a tie game. It's 3 apiece here in the 5th, and that energizes the Cartersville dugout.
Sure does, and you really see the team get pumped up over that as they have now fought back and tied this baseball game on 3 straight base hits by the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. That's what you want them to do. Give a lot of credit to Scott Morris in this inning. He's a leadoff man. His job is to get on base no matter how he can. And he looked at 4 straight balls, did exactly what he had to do, stole 2 bases, and came in on a hit and set the table for his 3, 4, and 5 hitters.
Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That ball swung on and fouled back to the stop, 0-1.
Let's go back to that hit by Naps. The ball was smoked into left field as well. Looked like it was an off-speed pitch, and he just waited back and hit it between the hole at short and third. So Pierce now would love to roll a ground ball here, maybe turn 2 and get out of this thing for Yorktown.
Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That ball swung on, hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play. They go to second, now back to first. Not in time, and now you've got runners in the corners with 2 outs.
So exactly what you wanted from Pierce. He does a good job to induce the ground ball, and a good pickup by Clint Brown over to his second baseman, that time Tenney. They'll throw one to first. Nicely turned at second, just a tad late.
So Jacob Roberts now steps in with 2 outs, and the go-ahead run just 90 feet away for Cartersville. And Jason Pierce back up on the hill. Pierce again gets the sign from John Mason. The pitch. Swung on and missed. Jacob Roberts 0 for 1 today. Popped up to the pitcher back in the second. He walked in the 4th. The 0-1 pitch. Pierce back on the hill. The pitch. That one high and inside, 1-1.
So the Hurricanes, just as they did an inning ago, have a runner at third with 2 outs. Only difference this inning, they've already plated 2 and are trying to take the lead now.
Roberts calls timeout. Again, this is single elimination, not something we're used to around here. In the high school level, of course, in the state playoffs, they play best of 3 series. So it's a lot like Florida plays it with the single elimination, and that makes things interesting. The pitch by Pierce, that one in there for a called strike, 1-2. Because if you look back to the Cartersville varsity team, you got to go ahead and give Michael Castleberry a stolen base.
Yeah.
As he advances on to second. So now you've got 2 in scoring position. The 1-2 pitch, swung on, that ball taken towards center field, and going back to make the out is Sean Blow, and that's the final out of the inning. But the Hurricanes get things done here in the 5th. Off a walk, 3 hits, they scored 2, and we're all now tied up as we move to the bottom half of the 5th. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex as we move to the bottom half of the 5th. All tied up at 3, and just like Cartersville led off in the 5th inning, so will Yorktown with the top of the order as Jason Pierce, John Mason, and Aaron Tinney. We'll start things off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, and we are in a deadlock 3-3 tie to see who advances on to this year's Southern Regional Final and a chance to play in the Junior League World Series. The first pitch in there for a called strike, 0-1. So Jason Pierce, who's 1 for 2 today, struck out swinging in the first and singled in the third, later stole second in the third as well. Comes up for his third at bat. The pitch. That one misses outside, 1-1.
So like you were saying, Scott, an inning ago, this game, as it gets down to the wire, will get even more and more pressure packed, and the tension is really building here.
Seth Malden with the pitch. Swung on, and that ball hit right to third. Gets right by Tyler Gilreath. It'll be the first error of the game by either squad.
That's an extremely tough play for Tyler Gilreath, because that ball, he didn't know whether to come get it or take it on the short hop. He probably did the right thing taking it on the short hop, but it had so much backspin on it, or side spin really. He didn't know if it would bounce right at him or bounce to the side. As it did, it kind of bounced to his right. Unable to glove it. Tough play.
So it goes E5, and that brings John Mason to the plate as Malden throws back to the bag. Hope you can still hear me. A rather loud crowd behind me.
Good that they show enthusiasm.
Brought a good crowd for a 12-hour drive. The pitch by Malden, that ball swung on, hit up the gap. Coming on to make the play is Scott Morris. He fields it, throws on to first in time,
play.
and they turn the 6 unassisted 3 double play.
Wow, that's a great play, Scott. You won't see many better plays than that at any level. That ball's up the middle. I mean, that's almost a sure base hit, and Scott Morris just gloves it, goes back. I mean, he's on the second base, or the first base side, I should say, of second base, goes back, steps on the bag, and makes the throw.
That's the second one of those we've seen today. Hurricanes turn a shortstop unassisted double play back in the second as well. That ball swung on, taken towards center field. Coming back underneath it is Benji Farr, and that'll do it. After an error, they go in order, and we now move to the top half of the sixth, all tied at 3. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week, and things get interesting as we move to the top half of the 6th inning. And the 8 and 9 hitters will come to the plate for Cartersville as Kevin Meredith and Jamie Farr will make their way. Meredith 0 for 2 today. Flew out to right field back in the second and grounded out to second back in the fourth. But Meredith loaded with power and usually very consistent. During the state tournament down in Monroe, went 5 for 5 in the championship game.
Wow, that's impressive. That's getting the job done in a big situation.
Usually does a good job of driving the ball to the opposite field, and we'll see what he does here against Jason Pierce. The stretch and the pitch. That one high and inside, 1-0 to Kevin Meredith. Pierce again has pitched a gem today. He's given up, through 5 innings of work, has given up 6 hits. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. He's given up 6 hits through 5 innings of work. He has walked 4, and he has struck out 3.
It was a big inning for both teams, Scott, because it seems like Cartersville's kind of snatched some momentum away from Yorktown, so Yorktown wants to try and get it back if they can.
The pitch to Meredith, and he launches that one in the gap in center field. It's down for a base hit, and Meredith is aboard. And that now brings Jamie Farr to the plate. Farr for only his second at bat today.
Pretty sharply hit ball that time by Meredith. That ball was smoked past the diving Clint Brown. I thought Brown was going to be able to come up with it. Good effort, just right past his glove. Now we'll see how Cartersville plays it. 9th man in the order, tie ball game, 6th inning. Will he be bunting, or will they play it straight up?
Pierce with the pitch. That one high and inside, a 1-0 to Jamie Farr. Jamie Farr, the son of former Clemson standout James Farr.
That's exactly right. Member of the 1981 National Championship team.
Farr steps in, the pitch by Pierce. That one misses outside, and now Meredith slides into second, and now you've got the go-ahead run in scoring position for Cartersville.
So I see how Coach Gilreath was wanting to play it. He knows his players a lot better than I do. Meredith with good speed. Sends him on a steal, waited for a good count, 1-0. You're probably going to see a fastball.
So Kevin Meredith taking a leadoff second. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That one misses inside. 2-1.
Good eye by Jamie. Thought maybe they might try and get him to third with Morris on deck, but the way that Cartersville runs and steals the bases, they may just be waiting for the right count to try and swipe third.
Pierce back up on the hill, gets the sign from Mason, the pitch. That one inside, 3-1.
And a good job by far so far in this at bat. He's laying off the pitches that are close, and he's way ahead in the count now at 3-1. So Pierce continues to battle.
I don't know when Pierce last pitched. I know you have to take a day off, but if he pitched as early as Sunday, which could have happened, he was probably their starter in their first game
on
I would
Saturday,
think,
yeah.
on Saturday. But still, you're only looking at
2 days rest.
2 days rest, and that's a lot to ask for a young 14-year-old arm. He walks far with that pitch, and now the Hurricanes have runners aboard on first and second with nobody out, and that brings Scott Morris to the plate.
Here's who you want to have up if you're Cartersville. 2 men on, nobody out. Good hitter coming up. Selective hitter, good eye at the plate. Hits the ball hard. Excuse me, go ahead, Scott.
Scott Morris today is 1 for 2 with a walk and 4 stolen bases.
Pretty good day. I think Scott hit a home run earlier in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Either on Saturday or Sunday. Saw him pitch a little bit yesterday. I'm sure Coach Chester will be anxious to see him. Bright future for that young man. Is all this Cartersville team.
And these
Yorktown
players as well.
Exactly right, Scott. I was just about to say that. They have looks like some good young talent on this team.
That area of the country doesn't always get the national attention it deserves in Southern Virginia because a lot of the schools are AA and single A in that part of the state. There's not that many. Actually, there's not that many AAA schools in Virginia outside of the Northern Virginia area. It's basically in the bigger cities that you see are I guess a city where you draw from a huge area. But down in that area, there are a lot of AA and single A schools.
Good baseball team.
Good
I
baseball
was going to ask
programs.
you, being a William & Mary grad, they usually have a pretty good baseball team year in, year out. They're in the NCAA tournament, it seems, a good bit.
Yeah, playing in the CAA is always, and a lot of these guys will be playing in that area. Maybe not just for William & Mary, but other teams in the CAA. The pitch. That one misses outside. I know Christopher Newport University, when I was there, was starting to really put together a baseball team. I've not looked at them in a while to see what they've been doing, but I know Old Dominion is always tough, and then of course you got Richmond just up the road. The pitch, that one in there for a called strike. 0-2 to Scott Morris.
Tough pitch for Morris to take. It looked like it almost hit him on the belt. The umpire called it a strike.
Scott Morris steps back in. The pitch. That ball swung on and hit in the gap. That's down. No, not for it. A great play at first, or at second rather.
Tremendous play by Aaron Tenney. Diving behind the bag, saved a base hit, and really saved Yorktown from giving up the lead to Cartersville. I think Meredith scores if that ball gets into center field, but it does not, and he robs Scott Morris of a base hit and retires Farr at second, and that will bring up now Benji Farr to the plate.
But with one out, you've got the go-ahead run 90 feet away, and Benji Farr with a fly ball would most likely score him.
We'll see how long it takes Scott Morris to go to second. He said he already has 4 stolen bases today. As I noted an inning ago, he gets a great jump, so you'd think it's just a matter of time before he takes off and puts 2 runners in scoring position.
Benji Farr steps in. The pitch by Pierce. That one misses inside, 1-0. And Scotty Morris all the way to second already.
I didn't think it'd take long, and he sure enough goes on the first pitch. He's in there standing up, so Benji Farr here in a big spot. If he could somehow deliver a base hit, I think with Morris's speed at second, he could probably plate 2.
3-3 the game here. Top half of the 6th inning. The pitch. That one misses outside. 2-0.
Yorktown looks like has brought their infield in now. On any ground ball, they're going to try and cut the runner down at the plate. Shortstop stays back, but I think he will come to here he comes to the grass as the ball is delivered to the plate.
Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. That one misses inside. 3-0 now to Benji Farr. Also a son of James Farr.
That's right. Good little athlete right here. As is Jamie. So the Farr boys, no doubt be heard from in their high school careers.
Benji steps back in. The pitch. That one high and inside, and he walks the bases loaded, and now making his way to the plate is Seth Malden with 1 out. This is not the situation you want to be in if you're Yorktown.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Scott, this is Pierce has his work cut out for him here now because these last 3 hitters all got a hit off of him an inning ago, and now you're facing a bases loaded with 1-out situation, and Cartersville a chance to not only take a lead but blow the game open here if they could produce a couple of base hits in a row.
Pitch by Pierce. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Of course, all 3 of the next 3 batters have the ability to go yard at any time, so.
Yes, they do. And Pierce is well aware of that as he brought a breaking pitch on the first pitch to Malden. Nice pitch by Jason.
The 0-1 count to Seth Malden. The pitch by Pierce way inside that time. 1-0.
You wonder if maybe this heat, you're playing on 1:30 here. We're right in the early part of the month of August, extremely hot here in Georgia. Got to wonder if maybe that's, I know it's been a long summer. I'm sure both teams have played a lot of games. You go through your district, you go to your state, you're now in a regional trying to get to the World Series.
Tell you, it's not any hotter here than it is in Virginia right now. They're having heat indexes over 100 degrees.
That's no fun.
Parents were telling me about it the other day, how hot it was. Jason Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch, that one inside. 2-1. So Jason Pierce back up on the mound.
I'll be interested to see what he throws here, 2-1. He's having a hard time locating his fastball, but he's getting his breaking pitch over.
2-1 pitch on the way. That ball in the dirt. 3-1 now to Seth Malden. And now, Jason Pierce in a little bit of a predicament.
Yeah, Pierce threw the breaking pitch that time, just threw it a little bit low, and now he's 3-1. He has to throw a strike. Nowhere to put Seth Malden.
The pitch, that one inside to Malden, and he walks. So that's an RBI walk for Seth Malden, and now Cartersville has the lead. And now you got the bases loaded for Tyler Gilreath, and things don't get any easier.
No, they sure don't. This is a guy that hits the ball with authority nearly every time. We all know what he can do on the mound, and he's equally as good a hitter.
I've not seen that many games, but every game I've seen here, he's driven one into right field. Or over the fence at right field. First pitch, he takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1.
You're exactly right, Scott. The games I've seen, he's hit the ball hard, but, like we saw on his last at bat, he hit it hard to left field. Shows that he can hit the ball hard to any part of the ballpark.
Pierce steps back up on the hill, gets the sign from Mason, the pitch. That ball in the dirt, 1-1.
Good play by John Mason, the catcher, Scott. To block that up and not let the ball get to the backstop. Scott Morris is at third, and any ball that gets away from the catcher, he's probably going to be coming and will probably score.
Gilreath steps back in, hitting from the left side of the box. The pitch, that ball swung on, driven towards center field. Coming underneath it is Sean Blow. The run will tag. We could have a play at the plate, and not in time. So Scotty Morris steps on the bag, and that'll do it. 5-3 your score as Cartersville takes a 2-run lead.
It's a good job by Tyler Gilreath. That's exactly what he needed to do, just hit the ball hard somewhere. He hit it right at Sean Blue, who made a nice catch, made a great throw to the plate. And I thought maybe, like you said, Scott would have a play at the plate, but the throw was cut off, allowing Morris to slide in safely, and Cartersville leads it by 2.
You also got to tip your hat to Sean Blow with the throw out there and the relay. They almost got him.
That's exactly what I was, yeah.
And that was a well-hit ball by Gilreath into deep center field.
I mean, he threw a strike, and it would have been interesting to see what would happen if the throw wasn't cut off. It would have been a bang-bang play at the plate.
2 outs here in the top half of the 6th inning. Cartersville now leading at 5-3. The Canes have gotten it done off a hit and 3 walks here in the 6th inning, and now they send Barrett Knaps to the plate with a runner in scoring position, looking for a little insurance as Jason Pierce gets the sign from Mason. The pitch, that one in the dirt, 1-0.
So pretty good speed at second and far. You have Malden at first, so I wonder if maybe Cartersville will try and steal here and get 2 in a scoring position.
Pierce back up on the hill. The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit towards second. Tinney grabs it, picks it back up, throws on to first. That'll do it in time. It goes 4-3 in your book, but as I said, the Hurricanes get it done off a hit and 3 walks. They scored 2, and they lead it 5-3 as we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. This is the semifinals of the 2002 Junior League Southern Regional. The winner of this game will advance into the final tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, the winner of that game will play in this year's Junior League World Series up in Michigan. And now, trailing things by 2 is the team from Virginia, Yorktown. The pitch swung on, that ball popped into short left field. Coming underneath it is Barrett Knaps. He calls for it, and it's 1 up, 1 down for Yorktown here in the 6th.
That ball was skied into left, but Knaps camps under it, and there's now 1 out. And Cartersville's 5 outs away from making it into the championship game.
Now batting Taylor Tomlinson.
So Taylor Tomlinson now steps in. The pitch swung on and missed 1-1. We lost audio for a second. Apologize. A little technical difficulty over here. Plug came out of the wall.
And that'll do it to you.
Taylor Tomlinson steps back in. The 1-1 pitch on the way. That ball hit in the infield. Scotty Morris fields it and throws on to first in time. That goes 6-3, and the second out of the inning is retired. And now Cartersville is just 4 outs away.
If you can help it right now, Yorktown, you don't want to hit the ball to short. Scott Morris has scooped up everything today and played a pretty good game defensively.
The pitch by Malden. That one misses outside to 1-0 to Sean Blow. Of course, as we said earlier, this is a single elimination tournament right now with only 4 teams remaining. The pitch swung on, that ball fouled away. North Carolina will play Florida immediately following this game to decide who
We'll play the winner.
the representative in the other.
Much like the NCAA Final Four in basketball. You bring 4 and you play 3 games.
Sean Blow steps in. 1 for 2 today. And now the 1-1 pitch. That one misses outside, 2-1. If Blow were to get aboard, that would bring Bryce Earnhardt to the plate. And he would represent the tying run. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-2. Good breaking pitch that time by Seth Malden as he just came right back across the plate.
Really was, Scott. And threw it with 2-1, so that shows he has confidence in that pitch.
The pitch. Swung on, that ball hit into the infield. Scott Morris grabs it on the hop, throws on to first in time, and you see once again how the shortstop makes it happen. And that'll do it. As Yorktown goes in order in the 6th, we now move to the top of the 7th. Cartersville 5, Yorktown 3. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the top half of the 7th. It's now Cartersville 5, Yorktown 3, and Yorktown's going to try to get out of this one here with Jason Pierce still on the hill. And if he can manage that, then they'll try to put their offense to the plate and see what they can do.
Already looking ahead to Yorktown 7th, I think they're going to send up their 7, 8, and 9 hitters. So very important they keep Cartersville where they are, and that's at 5 runs.
If they can get any of these guys on board, they'd be back up to the top of the order.
Exactly what they would need to do. And Jason Pierce, who's done a great job on the mound today, his job is to, as you just said, Scott, keep Cartersville from scoring here in the 7th.
Set to lead things off for the Hurricanes here in the 7th will be Michael Castleberry.
Chance to go to the championship game here in the regional, and if you can win that, you go to the World Series. So the experience these players on both teams will never forget, I'm sure.
Michael Castleberry steps in. The pitch, that ball swung on, hit towards center field. Going back toward the fence is Sean Blow, and he'll catch that one right along the track. So 1 up, 1 down for the Canes here in the 7th, and that now brings Jacob Roberts to the plate.
Sharply hit ball by Castleberry, and like you said, Sean Blow makes a nice play back at the fence. He played that like you see the big leaguers play it. He kind of held his glove out and reaching for the fence so he doesn't run into it, and right at the last second put his glove up and made the grab. Nice play. Both of these teams are very sound fundamentally. I like to see that.
Jacob Roberts now steps in. The pitch swung on. That ball taken toward left center field. Coming underneath it is Bryce Earnhardt, and he makes the second out of the inning. And that now brings Kevin Meredith to the plate. Meredith 1 for 3 today. Flew out to right field back in the second, grounded out to second in the fourth, and then singled in the sixth, later stole second base as well.
Meredith singled an inning ago on a sharply hit ball past the shortstop.
The pitch swung on, fouled back, 0-1.
He took quite a hack there. I think it got John Mason, the catcher.
John Mason taking a second to walk it off as that ball kind of cut him good. It's always a good time for the umpire to dust off the play.
Even if it's not dirty at all like it is now. A little gamesmanship.
The pitch to Meredith, that ball inside, 0-1. And it also works conversely that if the umpire takes one, sometimes
the catcher will
go talk the things over with the pitcher.
Exactly right, Scott. You're a baseball man. You know all these little ins and outs of it. I will give you credit there.
Kevin Meredith steps back in. The 1-1 pitch on the way by Pierce. That ball hit up the middle, but coming on to make the play again is Clint Brown. He throws it, and in time gets the final out of the inning. So the Hurricanes go in order here in the seventh. We go to the bottom half of the inning. One final opportunity for Yorktown, and we'll let you know what happens right after this. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex as we now move to the bottom half of the seventh inning and set to lead things off here for Virginia is Bryce Earnhardt, as the 7, 8, and 9 hitters will come to the plate to face Seth Malden.
Two really good pitching performances here today, Scott. We've seen one from Yorktown out of Jason Pierce and Seth Malden for Cartersville. Done a great job.
Malden up on the hill, gets the sign. The stretch, the pitch. That one misses away, 1-0.
So important now for Malden to throw strikes, and equally as important for the Yorktown hitters to make Malden throw strikes and not help him out.
That one in there for a called strike, 1-1. Malden with the pitch. That one swung on and fouled back to the stop, 1-2.
So Malden now ahead 1-2 to Earnhardt. We'll see if he comes back with another fastball or tries to get him to chase a breaking pitch.
Malden back up on the hill. The 1-2 pitch on the way. That ball high and inside, 2-2.
Tried to get him to chase a high, hard one and just got up on him a little bit. The count now even at 2-2.
Malden again with the pitch. Swung on, and it's going to be a drop 3 strike. Jamie Farr throws on to first, and it'll be a strikeout with a 2-3 putout.
So Malden on the 2-2 pitch comes with his curved ball and gets Earnhardt to swing, and a good play that time by Jamie Farr to pick it up. He didn't panic, made a good job, stepped outside the baseline, and a nice throw down on the first to Castleberry. And there's one out here in the seventh, and Cartersville 2 outs away from getting to that championship game. And Yorktown really needs to get a rally started quickly.
First pitch in there for a called strike, 0-1.
Clint Brown, the shortstop, made a great defensive play to end the top half of the seventh. Steps in. He swings and misses, and the count will now be 0-2 to the Yorktown shortstop. The 0-2 pitch to Brown is hit to the second baseman Meredith. He throws on to first, and there are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Cartersville 1 out away from advancing to that championship game against either North Carolina or Florida, but Yorktown still has hope here.
At the plate for Virginia, Willie McBride.
Willie McBride steps in against Malden.
First pitch misses inside, 1-0.
Way to watch, buddy. Way to watch. Make a pitch.
The pitch by Malden. That ball in there for a called strike, 1-1.
Malden really has done a good job of throwing strikes. Really hasn't gone to too many 3-ball counts on many hitters and works quickly. As here's the 1-1 pitch. Misses a little bit up and away. It's now 2-1 to McBride. So after giving up runs in each of the first 3 innings, Malden really has settled down here and is now 1 out away from putting his team into the title game tomorrow.
Malden with the pitch. That ball misses outside, 3-1 to Willie McBride.
So if McBride could reach, that would bring up the top of the order for Yorktown.
Malden back up on the hill. Again gets the sign from Jamie Farr. The pitch. And he walks him. So now the tying run comes to the plate in the form of Jason Pierce, and he has an opportunity to help his own cause and extend this game with 2 outs in the 7th.
Yeah, your job now as a Yorktown hitter is just get on base, just to keep extending the game and hope somebody can get a big hit.
Only the second walk of the day for Seth Malden, and the first pitch misses inside, 1-0.
I'm sure Seth now with his 2 outs is probably a little adrenaline flowing, probably a little bit of nerves involved with that too. So he's going to settle down if he can and throw strikes.
That pitch swung on and fouled away, a 1-1.
Pierce gets a good cut on a high fastball, just a little bit behind it. The count, she said, it's got even at 1. McBride will probably be staying put at first. No use in ending the game trying to steal a base.
Pierce steps back in. Malden back up on the hill. The 1-1 pitch, that ball fouled away, 1-2. So Pierce goes in the hole, 1-2, as he'll try to dig out of this one. He does represent the tying run. Malden back up on the hill. Malden gets the sign from Farr, and the pitch misses outside, 2-2. Good eye that time by Jason Pierce.
Cartersville dugout wanted the call. But a good eye by Pierce. That ball was a little bit outside, and the count will remain even, or excuse me, will go to 2-2. 2-2 with 2 outs.
Malden again on the hill. Gets the sign, the pitch. That one high and away, 3-2.
So now the runner McBride at first will be off with the pitch. And Pierce can probably look for a fastball here.
Pierce steps in. The count full. Swung on, that ball hammered towards center field. It's going back toward the fence, and it'll be a hit. And now you got runners on first and second, and the game-winning run comes to the plate in the form of John Mason.
You're exactly right, Scott. After 2 outs were quickly recorded here in the 7th, Yorktown now has 2 runners on. And as you said, the winning run is at the plate in the form of the catcher, John Mason.
So Mason will step in. He's 1 for 2 today. Takes the first pitch, pops it up. Calling for it is Scotty Morris, and that'll do it. And the Hurricanes hold on for the victory, 5-3 the final. And what a win it was, and Cartersville will now advance back to the championship game of the Southern Regional, a place they were a year ago, and they will have a chance to be the first team in the history of the city to ever win, or ever advance for that matter, into a World Series tournament.
Very exciting time, Scott, as you said, the first team for Cartersville to go to a Blue League World Series, but they still have some work to be done. A good team from either North Carolina or Florida awaits them, but this was a big game, as we said. You know, 1 loss and you're done, and tip your hat to this Virginia team. They fought hard, and they did not go quietly at all in the 7th inning, and they really battled Cartersville hard and gave them a good game. So tip your hat to the team from Yorktown. But for Cartersville, it's on to the championship game, as you said, and they'll play tomorrow against either North Carolina or Florida with a trip to the World Series in Michigan on the line. and I'm excited to see the game.
Well, Cartersville wins it 5-3 the final. We take a look at some of the final numbers. Seth Malden gets the win. He went all 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, 2 walks, 3 runs. They were all earned, and he struck out 3. Taking the loss was Jason Pierce. He went 7 innings, gave up 7 hits, 7 walks, gave up 5 runs. They were all earned, and he struck out 3. At the plate for Yorktown, Jason Pierce was 2 for 4. John Mason 1 for 3 with a walk. Aaron Tinney 2 for 3 with an RBI. Kyle Messick 0 for 3 with an RBI. Taylor Tomlinson 1 for 3 with a double. Sean Blow 1 for 3. Bryce Earnhardt was 0 for 2. Kyle Hornsby 0 for 1. Clint Brown 1 for 3. Willie McBride 0 for 1 with a walk. And Richard Rice 0 for 1. For Cartersville, Scott Morris was 1 for 3 with a walk. Benji Farr 0 for 3 with a walk. Seth Malden 2 for 3 with a walk and 2 runs batted in. Tyler Gilreath 2 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. Barrett Knaps was 1 for 4 with a run batted in. Michael Castleberry 0 for 3 with a walk. Jacob Roberts 0 for 3 with a walk. Kevin Meredith 1 for 4. And Jamie Farr was 0 for 1 rather, and with a walk. And Harrison Sharp was 0 for 1 in the Cartersville win. The Canes continue their winning streak. I believe it's at 19 games now, as they will now play for the Southern Region Championship tomorrow afternoon against the winner of North Carolina and Florida. And for Yorktown, their season comes to an end with an overall record of 15-4 here in the postseason, and a job well done for them. They had a pretty good team, and they came far, and they did a good job getting this far, and they have nothing to be ashamed about in today's game. Well, that's going to do it for this broadcast. I'd like to thank the crew. I'm Scott Singer along with Kyle Tucker, and on the cameras today were Donnie Bohack and Jacob Spicer, and of course, making it all happen in the truck was Brandon Brantley. Good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow night here from the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You've been watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week.